Okay, it's loading. All right, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Johnny Turner. I'm the Reentry Services Coordinator here in Franklin County's Office of Justice Policy and Programs. I'm honored to be a host and moderator and actually be a part of the group as we discuss something I think is very important to me and to all of us that are in attendance today. Today I have with us, we have Marvetta Froe-Shelton, Amanda Boltonhouse, James Norvitt, and we still await the company of a Mr. Mickey Tate when he's able to get on. I think he's having some technical difficulties right now. The topic for this session, is the next level of capacity building. And when we talk about building that next level of capacity, we're talking about two very distinct aspects. We're talking about constantly building our inner selves, being present in the moment with our families, and redeeming our greater virtues that make us better within ourselves and for our communities. And we're also talking about our work, our professions, our businesses, opportunities, and our futures. Today, we'll dig a little deeper into reentry and distinguish that from reintegration and what it really takes to gain and earn sustainable transformation over time as it exceeds beyond mindsets and attitudes. The focus of the session is obtaining opportunities to support next level capacity beyond the 3-year recidivism timestamp. So before we kind of get into it, I wanted to give everyone a quick opportunity to introduce themselves very quickly. I ask that as we move through the questions and the topics that we be as brief as possible and give each other room to hear from one another and expand where we can. But I'll start out with you, Marvetta. Would you be kind enough as to introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Marvetta Froe-Shelton, and I am always honored to represent restored citizens and to just address challenges with disparity gaps and to just be a beacon and a voice for those who are reentering and also for those who are reintegrating into the community. For me, it's been an uphill struggle. It's been an uphill battle. It's been worth it absolutely every day. However, I think about those individuals who may not have the fortitude or the stamina to just drive and push and persevere. Today, the subject matter is so important to me because I am a small business owner who provides services to this very population. So I thank you, I'm honored, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Marvetta. Ms. Boltonhouse, would you introduce yourself briefly, please, and share a little bit about yourself?
Good afternoon. I'm Amanda Boltonhouse. I am a returning citizen. September will be 4 years that I have been out from incarceration. I've been involved in a lot of wonderful programs that have helped me along my journey once I got released. I have actually was connected and to this panelist to be a panelist through Miss Marvetta. She's been a wonderful support. I'm very honored to be able to speak today and share my life experiences and where everything has brought me from the point of incarceration to where I'm at in my life today. So thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, and welcome. Mr. Norvitt, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Could you share a little bit about yourself, sir?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is James Norvitt. I was also asked this from Ms. Marvetta as well. I'm a project coordinator for a small firm in Columbus, Ohio called Raymond Consulting. I also went through a reentry program, and I've been fortunate enough to be out of the system for the past 5 years now. But I'm here hoping that I could be that voice to anybody who's listening to help you, let you know that you're not alone in this. Because like Ms. Marvetta said earlier, this is an uphill battle, and I know it can be discouraging sometimes. And I just hope that my experiences can help shift that change in the next person's life.
Thank you. And I'll jump in and share a little bit as well. I've been justice involved, and my justice involvement was really a long time ago. In my view, I did 4 years from 2002 to 2006. And since then, it's really been an uphill battle. No matter the opportunities that I kind of seek out, where I look to try to gain more skill, the avenues that I try to take to essentially get to that next level of capacity. Sometimes they're not always obvious, and oftentimes it doesn't work. However, there continues to be kind of a glimmer and a light that I know that we all have. And I think that we'll talk a little bit about that today. Mr. Mickey Tate, I see you on. Can you hear us, sir? Can you unmute yourself? And if you can't, Mickey, then we'll come back to you, and I'll ask our technical support to support us in that way. I kind of first really want to start with, really being transparent, really being clear. I met Marvetta, I think a decade or so ago. And I remember she was this tall, very kind, very caring lady that had questions, had ideas, was making herself be a part of something. And I just remember the energy that she had. And then I didn't see her, and I didn't connect with her for a while after that. And so when we were able to reconnect, one of the first things that we started kind of touching upon is this ceiling that we tend to kind of run into. And while we think that we have kind of worked on our the ceiling that we actually place on ourselves, this internal thing, our spirits, our souls, and everything else, oftentimes we work that out. And
spiritual advisor. So I found a safe person in a safe place to really start understanding that this requires spiritual work. The transformation must or had to, for me, I had to transform from the inside out. In doing that, humility, being humble, not being arrogant, and just understanding that, I am where I am, and it's purposeful. I saw no purpose in it at all. Today, I see purpose in it. And so just to understand that there is a greater guide, something that's bigger than me, higher than me, that's protecting me and guiding me and directing me, I had to surrender to that. And that was very difficult for me, but a pleasure, a joy, and priceless. And today I have, through this journey, it's been an 11-year journey for me, 11 years since I've been out of incarceration. And I feel like I'm still running up that wall, trying to get to the top. And it's just, there's no one up there throwing me out a lifeline, and I just got to keep trudging. But the spiritual realm, the higher self, the higher me, and my mentor and spiritual advisor who's been with me the entire time, just keeps feeding into me. And that gives me the fortitude, the tenacity, the wherewithal, the commitment to continue going.
thank you, Marvetta. And I would imagine with you also, Ms. Boldenhouse, that before that first job, or before that new thing that you were able to get into, at least professionally, you had some work to do inside and kind of remove that ceiling from yourself. Share a little bit about, when you're thinking about getting to that next level, kind of some of the things that you had to do for yourself before you can kind of get there.
Well, mine's a very interesting journey, to say the least. I've always been a woman that has always been very independent and strong-willed. I've always believed in a higher power, but I always was like, I have to depend on myself. So that's how I lived my life most of my life. Well, that's what led to the choices that led me to incarceration, was depending on myself. My transformation actually didn't happen until about almost 2 years out of incarceration. I actually got put into a program house, Jesse's World, that Miss Marvetta was the manager over. And it took a lot of long talks with her and her becoming my mentor. That's what made me realize that even though I have this felony, with my higher power and changing the inside, I can perform the things that I need to on the outside. And so I realized, like they say in meetings and stuff, let go and let God. Well, that's what I eventually had to do, because I realized I can't do it on my own anymore. Because doing it on my own led to some very, very poor choices. And thanks to Miss Marvetta, I've came a long way. I realized that I got, and I'm like, I want better for myself. And that's kind of, I'm on my way to getting better for myself today.
And to you, you young
So I learned how to build my resume up better.
Lean back.
So that started to become real discouraging for me. And then I would start to reach out to certain people, and that's when I would hear the terms, well, maybe you can just go get a warehouse job, try retail, just be happy to take anything. You have a family, just take whatever you got. Don't you have a family coming? And I'm like, and it hurts, because I'm like, okay, maybe do I look into that job now? Do I take this route? But at the same time, now do I lower my worth and my value, because I know what I can bring to the table, but I just have this barrier against me now. And so it took a lot of uplift from some of my friends and family members that kept helping me push, because it was a point where, like I said, I wanted to get depressed. I wanted to give up. I didn't know what my next meal was going to be. And so, once I actually just let go, that's when everything started happening for me, though. I started to see opportunities fall in line. I found an internship eventually. I found a couple mentors that was able to put me in the right room with people. And then that helped me lead to the next step of finally gaining that employment that I felt like would respect my value and bring that worth that I could bring to the table.
Thank you. And coming back to you, Mr. Tate, because you demonstrated the same passion that you had when you and I first had the discussion. For the Mr. Norvitz, for the Miss Bolton houses, for some of the young men and women that you work with, primarily the young men that you work with, of what do you share of yourself with them so that they don't have to go through that 30-year battle that you've been going through?
Hey man, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, you have to pray. You just have to pray, man, and ask the Lord to give you his strength and protection, because that's the most important thing when I talk about being in the secret place of the Most High. When you've been living long as I am, you watch your life and you watch other people's lives, and you see what they do, what happens when they do certain things, and you see what happens when they do other things, and you take that and you put it in your repertoire. When you realize that my life is not about my life. My life is about everybody I come in contact and how they're living, from what I can see, and try to develop a better life for myself and my family and those who are surrounded around me. And that's bigger than me. That's man, every morning I get up, Lord, I get up with a smile on my face. I'm gonna go out here and attack the world. I ain't bitter, I ain't mad. I look at it like this. I come from sperm, and that ain't something we talk about. But at the same time, no one in this world is going to ever walk around with my DNA. So God put me up here, but he also put me down here. So obviously he's telling me he wants me to be somewhere in the middle. So, every time he get behind, they said you make one step toward him, he make two toward you. He said, you're zero and he's one. He's the only one, okay? There's no other God. He's the only one. You're zero, and every time he get behind you, you get the power of 10 men. And so when you understand who you are and from where you come, then you realize anything that I choose to do, that I want to do with my life, I'm going to achieve. irregardless of whatever barriers they put in front of me. Because that's what he made me to do. That's why I'm here, to persevere. I said, what's going on? I said, what's going on, Mr. Tato? Oh, man, I'm struggling. Why are you struggling? Because ain't no progress without it. Ain't no progress without it. I'm struggling every day to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. It's a fight, man, for your life. This is all I know, and I love it. And I'm going to live it until the day I lay down and don't get up again. And so when I leave this earth, they don't have to cry over me because they're going to know I lived my life. And that's all you can do, dude, is live your life to your highest standards, not what somebody else thinks of you or what somebody gives you or what somebody offers you or any of that. I can't stop, won't stop, cannot be stopped. He empowered me when he brought me in the world. And that's the beautiful thing about it. I used to go to Franklin Junior High, and every morning we would have those may not be new, but they.
Situation. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so as I move through, Mr. Tate, you inspire me. I admire you. It's been super tough for me, but I keep moving forward, and I think about what the core of what you said in your introduction, and as you've been communicating, and next level. If we had a magic wand, if we had a fair world, if we had leadership who was all about bridging disparity gaps, if we had those things, you would be the sheriff. You would definitely be the sheriff. I mean, and so in saying that, I'm thinking about viable employment that you deserve, because that is something that you have spoke upon, is not being able to obtain employment when you've demonstrated, you have the skill set, and you have the abilities. Although you are a business owner, sometimes you just need that additional stream, that additional income stream to be able to reach that next level of capacity. So that's my thoughts and my thinking, or just to be able to expand the business that you currently have, to be able to have additional support from the community, the leaders, and any decision makers, to be able to pour into what you're already doing and thinking about the benefit to the next generation or generations that are coming, that are going to be coming behind us. And so I feel like in my heart of hearts, it's distressing to me that leaders do not pour into those who are passionate, who are pouring into others. So that's my thought. We could look at it either way. And Mr. Tate might say to me, I'm not looking for employment. I'm looking to expand my business. So either or, if you're demonstrating, if you have a viable service, if it's impactful, if it is building capacity for others, and creating, opportunities for the next generation, that's what I believe should happen. And I believe it should happen from our community. That's what I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Okay, so you gave me Mr. Tate. Ms. Boldenhouse, I'm going to ask you, right? So when you look at Mr. Norvett and a little bit that he shared with us today, and you put your development cap on, if you're a leader or if you're speaking to leaders, right? What might that look like for Mr. Norvett moving forward, if those obstacles and those barriers and those challenges could kind of get removed?
I feel like it would look like him having a successful career in what he wanted to do, expanding what he's got going on now. once the obstacles are removed, I honestly believe the sky is the limit. You know, that college degree he has, he would be able to put that forth for what he wanted to do. Just from hearing him speak a little bit, I can tell that he's passionate about helping other people as well. So maybe starting some kind of nonprofit to where, you know, he would be able to help the youth. Because I mean, I'm not as old as Mr. Tate, but even my generation is starting to go really wrong. And so maybe like a nonprofit to where he could help reduce the rate of incarceration, especially in youth, because I've noticed that they're younger and younger going to jails and prisons. Just having a good support to help him with his ideas, and you know, it sounds like he's got wonderful family support. So just working on building around what he's already doing and just making things so much better for generations to come.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Norvik, so you know Marvetta, right? You know Marvetta's worth. You know how she's touched you and others, right? If you had the magic wand, and I'm not gonna say magic wand for you because you very well will get to a place of leadership, right? And when you run across the likes of a Marvetta, right, who is touching people, who's helping people move forward, who's changing lives, and I'm not just talking about a couple people, I'm talking about dozens, if not hundreds over the years, right? When you get to the point where you have the leadership and you have the controls, right, fiscally as well as management wise, what barriers and what challenges do you move, do you displace, and you get out of Miss Marvetta's way?
So because you said for Miss Marvetta, that makes us a little bit more challenging. Anybody who knows her knows that she does not take no for an answer. So that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned from her over the years. If one door shut, she's going to find another door, or she's going to create her own door. So for her, that's kind of difficult to say. But for the next person, I would probably say the biggest barrier to break down would have to be that self-destruction. The just being hard on yourself, beating yourself up, making yourself believe that you're less than because of what society is making you believe, and just putting aside that pride that you may have. We need to lean on each other, use our community to support us, and figure out exactly what we want and just keep pushing forward. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of hurdles, a lot of barriers to overlook. I know for me personally, just being young, Black, tattoos, and then adding a background issue, I was hearing no left and right. And so just trying to eliminate some of those stereotypes that we're hearing a lot, and just a lot of bad stigmas.
So when we, I mean, I know that I've personally worn the Scarlet Letter, probably when I didn't even have to wear it, right? But it's there with me, and I may have magnified it or highlighted it more than it should have been. But I think it's, and so just like I'll speak for me, just like I have named those, or I've worn it. I think it's important for us to kind of name challenges, right? Put it out there, right? To empower and free ourselves, but at the same time, so that the universe can catch them and do something with it, if at all possible. So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Tate. I know you didn't go to prison, sir, right? But how did your criminal background hinder your ability to achieve your next level of capacity? How did it hinder you?
I had multiple felonies. Man. You know, I never could. I mean, I couldn't get a job to save my soul. You know, I finally got a job with the library. I worked there for 11 years because my best friend was the director. He was assistant director of security. But when I first went and got the job, they said, you could never work here. He told me to keep applying. And finally they hired me. I did that for 11 years, you know, and I don't want to get into all, but, you know, once again, you know, new director came in, you know, some old country town in Southern Ohio, you know, I don't need, you know, we don't need to go there.
Yes, sir.
But you understand what I'm saying? And you know, constantly have to worry about, and I'm a big guy, so, you know, people are intimidated, you know, when you know, it's just on and on and on.
Well, go
you know,
on and on then.
When you're a person where you're dealing with people who are you doing the arresting, you know, I mean, all the positions of power to look out and promote people who are not there yet, but have the personality and the perseverance, you know, like I'm giving my children. You know, there's no reason for you not to succeed with our children. You know, because people that died gave their life so you can have one. You know, my daddy born in 1919. What he went to? My grandfather, 1890. Huh? Huh? Others who have died for us start to be every bit of what we stand gave their life so we can have one. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to our children? And what do we make it mean to our children? We worrying about a car or a coat or a game instead of worrying about what my great grandmother went through when she enslaved in this country for nothing. Come on, man. You know, it's all backwards, man. We got caught up in the world.
So
You know?
I'll say this, Mr. Tate, because you're taking it somewhere that I can speak for me that I personally, you know, think a lot about. You know, I think about my great grandmother who I live with. You know, I think about my grandmother. You know, both of my grandmothers actually picked cotton. And so when I think about,
Right.
you know, when I think about how them preparing me for school, making oatmeal, get me to the bus, you know, with their hurt backs and arthritis in their hands,
Giving their life to you.
Yeah, giving their whole life, and I think you know, for me, and I think for us, all of us, is really kind of thinking about that getting to that next level of capacity is so much not about us.
Right.
It's about something else that's bigger than us.
Right.
And the reason why I think I keep pointing it back to, and James, I'm not trying to pick on you, but you know, this is out of love. But the reason why I keep going back to when I see this young man that's with us, and the power that he possesses, and how we got to continue to kind of feed into that and nurture that, right? And for our friends and allies, Miss Boldenhouse going through the same thing that we're going through, right? Making bad decisions, not so much, but making bad decisions, but then trying to get back on our feet, right?
Yeah. 10% of the people got 90% of the wealth. You know, it's really not about color. You know, I mean, in a sense it is, but in another sense it's not, you know? It's about the haves and the have-nots, man. You know? I mean, I'm just speaking about my experience, but I'm sure she has an experience that she can speak on, you know? And I don't have a problem with that.
Well, let's hear it, Miss Boldenhouse. Let's hear it. The microphone is yours to talk about it a little bit. How are you digging yourself out? How are you digging yourself up? What does that look like for you?
Now see, a lot of my struggle is because I'm a female. I do a lot of, I'm in like a male dominant work environments. And when I go into those work environments and I'm working just as good as them, I feel like not only they're like, well, wait a minute, this chick's got a background and she's working just as hard as us. And, you know, like Mr. Tate said, I think that sometimes in the workplace, I'm an intimidation to them because I do have a strong personality. I at times can be a force to be reckoned with, because I feel like because I'm a female, I have more to prove. And you know, thinking back to like my grandparents and all of that, like I I lived with them, so they raised me like it was still back in those times. So I didn't get the firsthand view of of what life was like back then, but I got it as far as like the mental and emotional.
Have you not went through that? God knew what you had to go through to get to where you were. Anything that you had to go through, it wasn't by chance. It was life that made you the woman you are now. And so be proud of your past, because you have a wonderful future.
Have a couple more minutes, right? I want to thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Boldenhouse, for opening up and give us what you gave today. Thank you for young James, for your smile, for your energy, right? For your enthusiasm and for your hope. Thank you, Mr. Tate, because you earned that gray and silver, right? I know the women call you a silver fox along the way, so I appreciate you wholeheartedly for earning that. And I want to end with Marvetta. And Marvetta, I want you to take us out. I want you to put back on that development hat. I want you to put back on that construction hat, right? And you mentioned something earlier. You mentioned the center. So we know MBA students, those that have ideas in IT, healthcare, and so forth, they can go to Rev 1, right? And they can get that capacity building experience, right? We know that if you work with the state of Ohio, for the most part, and you need some extra credentialing, right? You can earn some certificates through tech cred, right? Where you can level up a little bit more. If you are just a regular John or Bob, right, or Sarah or whoever, right, and you don't have any felonies, you've been laid off from your job, you can go to Ohio Means Jobs, and because you're a dislocated worker, right, and there's some certifications and some training there for you. But when you talk about us and our unique group, you mentioned that center. So just in closing, could you kind of describe what that center would look like, where it would be, and what we'd be able to find there?
Okay, I'll do my best. So this center will be called the Comeback Center. We're going to name it. It's going to be the Comeback Center. Come back and move forward. But the Comeback Center, it will be centrally located, and this center will be available because there are a lot of reentry centers, services, programs, and to me, it seems as if the focus is on preventing recidivism or to stabilize during transition. But this center will be for those who have exceeded beyond that 3-year time stamp, and they are striving to build capacity. This center will be composed of leaders and community officials and providers, those that have the ability to pull someone up to the next level or open up opportunities for the next level. I think about a couple names, but I'm gonna try to be careful. So those who are decision makers on where the funding goes, I mean, they need to be in there. Some of those financial institutions, because for me, I've worked 3 jobs for 10 years to piecemeal my salary together to get in position to start a business, to exercise my passion, to reach out, to improve the quality of life of others. I went and obtained the educational credential. Now I'm looking for the financial institution who can, say, hey, we're going to go ahead and approve you for this amount. And then here's a couple other income streams that's willing to support so that you can reach out and extend your reach to serve more individuals who are looking to build that next level capacity. So that is who I want to be center in this building. This building is going to have different offices that will represent these entities that are willing to provide support. I have been working like a Hebrew for 10 years, 3 jobs, grad school simultaneously. I mean, just working myself to the point where I almost am going to need someone to take care of me. So I'm trying to take care of the community. I'm trying to share my passion, and I need for the community to pull together collaboratively and to be willing to create this opportunity. The funding is there, but the funding streams are going to other entities, and they're not making that impact. We need to make a greater impact, and we need to ensure that those who have demonstrated that when they run into a wall, there is the comeback center where they can come back to. They will feel welcome. They won't be judged. There won't be those weed out parameters, those hoops you have to jump, the red tape, but that you can qualify like anyone else.
And listen, and we're going to end on that note. The Comeback Center will be located on High and Broad. Aiming it. And it's gonna be on High and Broad, and we claiming it. So again, I appreciate you all today. Thank you, Ms. Boldenhouse, so much for sharing. Thank you, Mr. Norva. Keep your energy and keep your enthusiasm. Thank you, Mr. Tate, for coming into our lives and contributing, right, with energy. And listen, and stay up. I don't have to tell you that, but stay up. We appreciate you. And to you, our lovely Marvetta, thank you for bringing us all together and allowing us to have this discussion. I appreciate you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, thank all y'all. Appreciate y'all taking your time.